Antony Starr's Homelander is as evil as ever in the Season 4 debut episode of The Boys, creating an ominous feeling that his maniacal energy is going to cause some serious damage as the sprawling narrative of the series continues to unfold. The inclusion of some new blood on the team allows for some alternative and intriguing pairings to play out. A train starts to shift his ideologies after his involvement in paralyzing his brother, Nathan, last season, and finds an unlikely ally in Vought Tower, which becomes one of this season's highlights. The Deep, grosser and further gone than ever before, spends Season 4 with a new and improved Black Noir, a mysterious newbie who was chosen through some unexplained process and seemingly never trained in the nuances of the position. The two act as a reminder of how incompetent the Seven can be, especially when they're so far up Homelander's butt it would take a laxative cocktail the size of a fishbowl to get them out. Homelander presents Firecracker, Sister Sage, and Ryan to the public as members of the Seven in the first scene of Episode 3 of The Boys. After inviting Ryan over for a friendly chat and placing him in a safe house designed to haven Superman, Kessler and Butcher devise a scheme to drug Ryan. Right now, Kessler wants to prepare Ryan to become a superhero who can murder Homelander, while Butcher wants to keep Ryan with him so that he may teach him moral lessons. It appears like Butcher has little choice than to submit to Kessler, as he is currently Butcher's only accomplice. However, Homelander becomes concerned when he sees a melancholy Ryan because he finds it hard to comprehend why a young person of his caliber doesn't like killing. And he brings Huey to a lawyer, who essentially informs him that since Hugh granted Daphne the power of attorney of his own free will, it is impossible to take back the authority vested in her. Huey must therefore get along with his mother if he is to have any genuine authority to make decisions for his unconscious father. Frenchie walks into the Starletter headquarters and wants to speak with Colin in secret, presumably about the fact that Colin is the one who killed his entire family years ago. But a man who has been radicalized by Firecracker's rhetoric enters the building and attempts to murder the lawyer in question. Fortunately, Frenchie intervenes to save him and renders the insane man helpless. Frenchie later has an intimate relationship with Colin rather than telling the truth out loud. Singer and Newman are seen briefly discussing the possibility of outright prohibiting Supes from serving in the armed forces and civil services. Although Newman appears to comply with Singer's request, she is aware that it will negatively impact her relationship with Homelander. Through the Tournament of Heroes game, which is reminiscent of Mortal Kombat, Butcher communicates with Ryan and invites him over for a talk. Ryan is apprehensive, but Butcher seems to have worked his emotional magic on him by bringing up his health. Homelander is courted by Firecracker, but he advises her to concentrate on the Seven's meeting. Then he makes Ashley the Vought mascot and demotes her because Sister Sage is now carrying out her duties. Ashley makes the most embarrassing exit from the meeting room. It's also revealed that the person who has assumed the persona of Black Noir has narcolepsy, which causes him to fall asleep at random, as if that weren't humorous enough. Sage notes that Deep will no longer be leading the crime analytics department because of his carelessness, which allowed someone, we know it's a train, to steal the tape that was used to liberate the Starlighters. Although Deep's octopus girlfriend tries to cheer him up, her charms are ineffective. Ashley engages in her regular sexual ritual with Coleman as a way to decompress. When Ryan gets to Butcher's house, he offers the child the poisoned cookies right away, but Ryan declines to eat them because he isn't hungry. This implies that Butcher needs to have a conversation with Ryan before he feels satisfied or ready to consume the cookies. Takes a train to the stadium, where he used to practice after breaking into Nathan's phone. Before everything goes horribly wrong, tries to persuade a train to take action against Vought and their wicked methods. Although a train gives the impression that he has no desire to assist MM and the other heroes, the fact that he pays attention to whatever says suggests that he has some morality. Frenchie's drugs start to work when they go to the Shining Star hideout with Kimiko. As a result, Frenchie has delusions about his background, all the people he has killed, and the fact that he is keeping Colin in the dark while Kimiko deals with the terrorists. When Kimiko recognizes a girl from her past, she recognizes her and resists the attacker's attempt to murder her. When Frenchie asks who she is, Kimiko refuses to give him a straight answer out of resentment that he didn't intervene to stop the fight. After then, the focus of the action switches to Butcher and Ryan, who appear to be getting along rather well. Nevertheless, when Ryan mentions that Homelander is teaching him how to be alright with killing people, Butcher worries. However, Butcher chooses not to panic since he sees a slim possibility that Ryan won't become into Homelander's level of evil, because he is capable of discerning what is right from wrong. Thus, instead of giving him the cookies, he simply opens up to his stepson about his existential concerns. Annika, a member of the crime analytics team, is called in for interrogation at Vought Tower due to her donation of several outfits to the Starlight House. As she speaks the truth about her involvement in the leak of the innocent Starlighters footage, Sister Sage assures her that nothing bad will happen to her. However, Homelander murders her as soon as she claims that Starlight requested her to track something. Ashley is so terrified of what would happen to her as she tried to leave Vought. She knows too much about the Supes and the inner workings of the organization that she tears up her resignation letter. At another scene at Vought Tower, Starlight confronts Firecracker over her never-ending stream of rage. Recalling that they competed in pageants together as children, Firecracker tells her that Annie spread a bogus tale about Firecracker's promiscuity. Annie feels her rudeness coming back to her, and she apologizes profusely to Firecracker for ruining her reputation. But now that Firecracker is stronger than Annie, she won't forgive her and wants to make Annie feel just as bad as she made Firecracker feel. When MM and Huey arrive at the ice rink, Newman is expected to meet Sister Sage and Homelander. After posing for photos with the Vought on Ice cast, Newman heads up to the guest room for her rendezvous. When Huey finds out that MM is collaborating with A-Train, he nearly calls off the expedition, but MM tells him to obey as he is currently in charge. Huey then climbs inside the air conditioning ducts and hears Sage proposing to assassinate the president and impose martial law. Victoria will be free to dissolve the Bureau of Superhuman Affairs and destroy any evidence that challenges the Supes, clearing the path for the Supes to fully conquer America. In order for America to have a Supe president occupying the Oval Office, Homelander and Sage also want Newman to come out as a Supe. Homelander starts shouting nationalist words at Newman, even if she doesn't want to do that. Huey's sweet drops interrupt this conversation, making Homelander lose his mind. A train saves Huey by miracle. The majority of the Vought on Ice cast and crew perish. MM also escapes unscathed from the place. Kimiko, Annie, and Frenchie form a strong friendship over a whiskey bottle. When Kimiko tries to talk to Frenchie about his continued heroin addiction, he chastises her for being overly worried about him. After visiting the hospital, Huey resolves to have a proper conversation with his mother. When he questions her about her reasons for leaving, she explains that she was experiencing postpartum depression. She attempted self-destruction one evening. She departed to take care of herself after realizing that it was ineffective and that she was wrecking Hugh and Huey's lives. Huey acknowledges that he has been mistreating Daphne for the entire time, rather than making an effort to understand her, and that he knows nothing about her. However, it appears that Huey has put his differences behind him and will now get along with his mother. When Ryan is allowed to return to Homelander by Butcher, because he believes he is a decent kid, Kessler and Butcher get into a heated argument at the end of The Boys Season 4 Episode 3. The world doesn't need two Homelanders running about, according to Kessler, so they need to discover a way to either kill him or train him to be an anti-super weapon. A bloodied Orbitoclast, a device used for lobotomies, on the table suggests something terrible that will likely be exposed later in the show as Sage and Deep have an intimate moment back at Vought Tower. When Homelander learns that Ryan has met Butcher, he loses his mind. Homelander loses his temper and runs into his room. At that point, Homelander's alter egos appear and advise him to return to his roots in order to address the persistent problem of his inability to manage a little pressure. Homelander comes to the realization that in order to be genuinely merciless, he must remove the remnants of humanity that still exist in him. A few glances of a subterranean office indicate that Homelander will visit the location of his experiments in the upcoming episode to finally deal with his past. Will Homelander become even more insane as a result of that?